A mysterious pump has started to come across the financial markets. Is this legit? Is this real? Is the Iran conflict potentially heading to a de-escalation? Guys, I'm going to be talking to you about that because we have some breaking news to talk about that has literally just come out. I'll give you my independent analysis of this breaking news. What do I believe? Do I think this is true? We're also going to talk about some other very important things that are happening right now in the financial markets and this Iran conflict, plus an absolute ton more, and exactly what the Iranians are saying as well. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. So if that sounds good, just like the video. Appreciate every single one of you being here, and let's get straight into it. So this is the breaking news. It's come out from Reuters, but it's also being cross-posted over to X. So Trump tells aides he is willing to end Iran war without reopening Hormuz. So wow, could Trump be backing away from this build-up? Could all of this be a huge bluff? Let's read on for some more details. So US President Donald Trump tells aides he is willing to end the military campaign against Iran even if the Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed, and leaves a complex operation to reopen it for a later date, the Wall Street Journal reported on Monday. So that is what the Wall Street Journal has come out with. Kobayashi letter has also reiterated this similar fact, and it says right here, details include, number one, Trump and his aides assessed that a mission to reopen Hormuz would push the conflict beyond his timeline of 4 to 6 weeks. 2, Trump believes the US should achieve its main goals of destroying Iran's navy and missile stockpiles. Number 3, Trump thinks he can wind down current hostilities while pressuring Iran diplomatically to resume the free flow of trade. Number 4, if that fails, Washington would press allies in Europe and the Gulf to take the lead on reopening the strait, US officials say. The US stock market futures are rising on the news, and they absolutely are. So this is the mysterious pump that is coming to the markets right now. So you can see right here, we're up about 1% for the US stock market, and we've got heaps of news to talk about. Let's just give you my independent take on this. So first of all, I have to say, look, as we've been analyzing this conflict on this channel very, very carefully, analyzing both sides of the story, you have to understand this at this stage is just, you know, a kind of an opinion by Trump, which, to be honest, it kind of is baseless. And what I mean by that is Trump has claimed so many things during this conflict. He says he's going to war. He's not going to war. He's going to reopen the strait. He's not going to reopen the strait. He wants Britain to come in. He doesn't want Britain anymore. So it's like the boy who cried wolf, right? He's said so many different things, so many conflicting things. One thing is true is the financial market is reacting to this news, though. So he is reacting to this news. Some things we have to understand is this is not going to be achieved, right? Without a full-on ground invasion, I think it's highly unlikely the US will actually destroy the missile stockpiles of Iran. The reason I say that is if you actually have a look at this, this is what the Iranians have done to counter this. So they have literally built tons and tons of missiles into mountains, and it doesn't matter how many bombs they drop from above, you really can't, penetrate that deeply into the mountains as we know it. So I don't think it's realistic that he's going to get rid of the missile stockpiles in Iran, winding down things right here. And he wants to pressure European and the Gulf to take the lead on reopening the strait. And look, it's just a reaction from the financial market indicating that maybe Trump is winding this down. So what does that mean? If he is winding this down, it means all these Marines getting sent, special forces, Delta forces, the Rangers, it was all a big bluff. It was all a big, Trump 5D chess, whatever you want to call it. He was trying to, bluff his way in to getting the Iranians to back down. I'll have the update of the Iranians at the end of the video, but what's happened right here is it does indicate that maybe Trump is backing away from this without going full through with this Iran conflict, okay, which is interesting. So we're just going to have to hold our breath for this. Having said that, okay, having said this big announcement right here, it is important to understand that all the troops are still pretty much ready to go. So Trump, as we know, he changes his mind quite often. Quite often he's quite dishonest in what he talks about. He can be very misleading. But we do know there are troops ready to go. So he could change his mind. He could go in with a ground invasion. This could all be another bluff. It could be a diversion tactic against the Iranians to make them think that he's not going to do anything, and then maybe he does something. That's important to understand. And also, some people are saying this is just Donzu out of the war right here. So if you don't know what you were doing, then your enemy doesn't know what you were doing either. So is this Donzu? Importantly, yesterday, at the end of yesterday's video, we talked about the important thing that does need to happen if you do want to see an end to this war. And Joe Kent is actually doing it. So Joe Kent right here, let's listen into this and I'll give you my take on it. Very important video from Joe Kent.
This week, President Trump will be under immense pressure to commit ground troops to the war in Iran. This would be a catastrophic escalation that will only result in more bloodshed and further escalate this disastrous war. It is critical that we, the people, have our voices heard. Contact the White House comment line, contact the congressional switchboard, ask for your representative, ask for your senators. Respectfully tell them that we do not support putting any boots on the ground in Iran. This is how we, the people, can have our voices heard. It's critical that we pray for peace, but it's also critical that we work towards peace. Respectfully contact your elected officials and let them know we, the people, do not support this war. Thank you. God bless.
So that is a very important message coming out of Joe Kent. It's exactly what we spoke about, the secret strategy at the end of the video, because the biggest problem with the right wing, particularly with conservatives, is the political activation is very lacking. There's not much coordination. There's not much action either. And Joe Kent is calling on people to act, to actually call phone lines, to actually act. And this is the highest form of politics, is when you actually get involved in the democratic process. And if you have a look at your country and you're not happy with the way your country is, most of the reason will actually be because people haven't acted and they haven't actually got involved and they've just let things slide, like a slippery iceberg. And it is what it is today. But again, there is a chance this whole situation could reverse. There is a chance there's going to be a better future. And there is a chance that maybe the future of the US and its geopolitical strategy could be reshaped to bring massive benefits to US citizens. So interesting message out of Joe Kent right there. Very, very interesting to see some political action taking place. Now, having said that, before we got this rumor that has just broken from Wall Street, I want to say as well, Trump came out with this yesterday. So again, not to be unexpected. And sometimes, again, it hurts my brain to read out some of these tweets, but here it is. This is what Trump said in the last 24 hours. The United States of America is in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations in Iran. Great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, which it probably will be, and if this Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of the electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all the desalination plants. I shouldn't be laughing, but this is ridiculous, which we have purposely not yet touched. This will be in retribution for our many soldiers and others that Iran has butchered and killed over the old regime's 47-year reign of terror. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And look, the second bit is serious. Obviously, there has been some beef between the US and Iran in the past, which is potentially valid. But this is ridiculous. This middle bit, that is a monstrous war crime against a civilian population. You're supposed to go to jail for that. And he's just openly tweeting about it. So look, this is just the world we live in, where these tweets are the go. And but that's, yeah, you look, it's what do I say? Almost speechless with that one. But that's a Trump gem. Maybe, hopefully, it's to conclude and de-escalate this whole situation, but we'll see. So that was before this breaking rumor coming out of the Wall Street Journal, that one right there. But we know Trump's tweets, highly, highly erratic, very, very crazy stuff right there. And also, one guy who actually called it pretty correctly was Iranians' foreign minister. If we can bring him up somewhere here, where is the tweet? But you can see right here, the reverse indicator put out by the Iranian Speaker of the Parliament, who is acting like a financial KOL, MB Ghalibaf right here, and his tweet actually went viral. So how many views did it get? It was a very big one. Got 14 million views over on X, and it was his prediction about the stock market manipulation yesterday. And look, there could be stock market manipulation today. Of course, it's a very shadowy market. There's lots of tricks that are getting played in the financial markets at the moment. But you can see right here, based off this screenshot, it seemed to play out. So his call played out, and people found that highly interesting with the conflict going on. Now, what do the Iranians think of all this? So we're having rumors come out of the US. We're having statements coming out of Trump. What do the Iranians actually want? What is their point of view right now? Let's read out some of this. So he says right here, Sayed Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister of Iran, he says Iran respects the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and considers it a brotherly nation. Our operations are aimed at enemy aggressors who have no respect for Arabs or Iranians, nor can provide any security. Just look at what we did to their aerial command. High time to eject US forces. So remember, the Iranians, every time we've analyzed these intel updates on the channel right here, they have had a consistent point of view. They want the US out of the region. They want military bases out of the region. And whether Trump is going to concede to that, we're going to have to find out, like whether he actually does give up the US military bases in all these countries. And the other thing that was supposed to play out during this whole conflict is the US was really supposed to give like security guarantees to all these Gulf Arab countries, and that has completely failed. It's been a total failure in that regard. And what's on top of that, guys, if we have a listen into this might blow your mind as well. So this is coming out of Caroline Leavitt, who is, I believe, the White House spokesperson. Let's listen in right here.
During the Persian Gulf War, 1990, 1991, Arab countries paid for the vast majority of the cost of the war. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the UAE. Who's paying for the cost of this war? Will those Arab countries step up to do just that?
Well, I think it's something the president would be quite interested in calling them to do. I won't get ahead of him on that, but certainly it's an idea that I know that he has, and something that I think you'll hear more from him on.
And that's absolutely insane. So Arab countries who did not start this conflict at all are going to get asked to pay for the conflict that they didn't start, and that they've actually been a massive, I would say, additional casualty to this whole conflict. That's a crazy take, but you can see right here, breaking from the Kobaisi letter, President Trump is interested in calling on Arab countries to pay for the cost of the Iran war. Wow. So not only do you get your refineries blown up and your aluminium plants blown up as well, but then you have to somehow pay for it all because this war was started without you. And that is just some crazy points of view right there. And look, we're just going to have to see how this goes. So look, honestly, at the moment, the financial markets are liking this rumor that has come out. You can see gold kind of pushing up. You can see silver going up. You can see the S&P Futures 500. But I just have to say, look, as we've kind of been navigating this, I'm honestly treating it with cautious optimism. So I'm not sure whether this is going to hold out or not. But I will say, the truth of the matter is, if this thing doesn't stop, remember, this is like a ticking time bomb. The longer this conflict in the Strait of Hormuz in particular stays active, economically, this is like a doomsday weapon for the world economy. So if this thing goes off and it shuts down for too long, kaput. Some countries literally go beyond the Great Depression. They just stop functioning altogether, and you have like a famine situation. So that's what we just need to be aware of. And remember, this information, we're just assessing it day by day. Every 24 hours it changes. So if you want to get the next update, subscribe to the channel. If you got value out of this, guys, like the video. If you have a question, feel free to leave a question down below. Maybe we can do some more questions in an upcoming video as well. So feel free to drop your questions down below. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Let's see how this storm rolls on in the market. And that's today's major update right there, but I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.